first of all, we are very, very happy to be here today. So thank you to come that early and to be here, having your coffee. Usually we love having the coffee, we can talk and walk, and so today you are all seated, and thank you to respect these rules that are our new life. So today we're going to talk about a very important topic, a topic that matters, that is sustainability. It matters for LVMH, it matters for IFM, it matters for the world, and for all of you, I imagine, if you're here today. So, for the one who don't know me, I'm Laetitia Roche-Grenet, Director of Open Innovation at LVMH. What we do at Open Innovation in LVMH is that we are a place where the LVMH Maison can be inspired and co-craft business solution, so through entrepreneurship or through startups. And we have different topics that matters. Sorry, the mask. And one of the very important topic is sustainability. So today we'll have a particular focus on fashion and creativity, because we are with the Institut Français de la Mode, with whom we are cultivating a strong relationship for years. We have a lot of alumni working in LVMH, so we are very happy to be with you today.
Thank you, Laetitia. Thank you, everyone, again for joining us this morning. Just a few words about what we'll be presenting and 2 words on IFM. First of all, yes, we are delighted to be with you to contribute to this reflection on eco-conception, since as a center of expertise for the fashion and luxury professionals, IFM aims at supporting all the ongoing changes of our industry. And through our educational activities, we witness the major interests of students, entrepreneurs, young professionals that will be joining in the future our industry. They really want to change everything. So what we wanted to propose you is a sort of state-of-the-art of what is currently happening in terms of eco-conception, so the new trends and the practices of companies. And that's a pleasure to be also here at Station F, meeting entrepreneurs. So IFM used to be strongly present at Station F with our own program. Today we are more a partner. And so I know this place, and I've been strongly involved, and it's a pleasure to be back. Today I'm more focusing on IFM because I'm in charge of the management program, which is the most important program at the school, with more than 100 students part of it. And some of them are also partnering. I see Fairly Made, and our students are also joining these startups and new projects that are reshaping our industry. So we are really deeply involved and committed to support all these changes, and we also contribute. We'll be welcoming Stéphane, thanks to our expertise, to raise awareness on these different topics.
So thank you. So today we will have Alexandre Capelli, who is the Group Environment Director of LVMH. So he'll be here very soon. And we have Stéphane Piot, who is going to talk in a few minutes. So Stéphane is a consultant in eco-sustainable fashion. He has a big resume, that long that if I talk, it will take hours and hours. So he co-founded startups, he works for LVMH also. So he will talk about many different, very interesting things. Especially the dimension of eco-design and how it can have an impact on the industry practices. So if you want to come and give us a few words, we'll be happy to listen to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stéphane.
Hello, nice to meet you. So I'm Stéphane. I'm very happy here to be here with you. I will talk about eco-design and new materials. Why eco-design? Because we are in the fashion, we are in the luxury, and what is very important for luxury and fashion is the product itself. That is the desirability of the product, the attractivity of the product, the functionality of the product. So eco-design, which is targeting directly the product, is really a very interesting principles to take into account for the fashion and the luxury when you are talking of corporate social responsibility or CSR in the fashion industry. So eco, it means first that is impacting the environment. That is that we are going to check what is the good and the bad of the production and the use of a garment, of an accessories, of a shoes, for example. And design, because it is from the principle that 80% of the impact of a product is determined at the beginning of the definition of a product in the fashion and the luxury. So eco-design, also for information, is one of the 7 pillars of the circular economy, which is also very trendy in our industry currently. So what means eco-design? Eco-design is a way to, is a double entry matrix. On one part, we have the life cycle of the product. That is, we have to take into account all the steps, each step of the production of a product. It will begin, of course, with the designers, the development of the product, the sourcing of the raw materials. It can be vegetables, when it is cotton, for example, animal, when we are talking of leather, of wool, or it can be also metal, for the metallic pieces that we have on the product. We have the components, that is the thread, the zipper, and the tanned skin. We have the manufacturing, who is going to assemble the product itself. After, we have to take into account everything which is around transport, supply chain, of the component and the final product. When the retail, it can be physical retail or directly e-commerce that we have to take into account during eco-design. The use, and as you can see, there is a buckle because the use can be multi-use. And you have, I'm sure that you know about the big boom currently of the second hand, which is concerning all the levels of product. Even in the luxury, we have more and more innovation in it. We have to take into account in these product life cycles, after sales service, the reparability of the product that should be integrated from the beginning of the conception and the design. And after the end of life of the product, it can be recycled. Recycling today in the fashion industry is only 1% of what is going in the industry that will be recycled in buckle today, so it's not a lot. And 99% will be more incinerated or put in the earth. So this is the first entry of this double entry matrix that we have for eco-design. And for each of these steps, we will allocate different environmental impact. Environmental impact, it can be a use of energy and the corresponding emission of greenhouse gas. It can be the solid waste that we can have. For example, at the design development is when we have many prototypes which are traveling and we have to do many tests, so we can have some solid waste. For the raw materials, it will be, of course, mechanization with electricity, can be harmful for biodiversity, use of water or pollution of water. Also, the welfare of the animal is to be taken into account, mainly when we are talking about animal raw materials like wool or leather, and of course we have some social impact. And for each of the steps, we have more or less environmental impact. We have not something which is global, but you see on components, it will be also, we add many chemicals, and we are in industry where we are using a lot of chemicals, which are also wet processes, so a lot of water. After the assembling, supply chain, it's mainly on transport. It's the same in retail. Use is important in terms when we are talking about impact, mainly for the textile, because we are washing, we are ironing, we are drying our clothes, or we are even putting them at the pressing, the dry cleaner, for example. After sales service, it's quite beneficial. And after, at the end, of course, if we are incinerated, we can have some problem in terms of solid waste and biodiversity. So eco-design is this. And we have impact which are always different depending the product on which we are talking. And just to illustrate this, I just put LCA. So LCA is life cycle analysis. It is methodology which will account and measure exactly what is the impact, the environmental impact for each step of the product. So this LCA has been done only on one environmental impact, which is the water consumption, as you can see it here. And as you can see, for this impact on the jeans, the fiber, that is the raw materials, is the main impact. Usually, when we are talking of, when we are working on life cycle analysis, most of the impact is coming from the fiber and the fabric or the components. It is usually it's more or less 70%. So that is why it is very important when we are talking of eco design, fashion, and luxury to focus on these two first steps of the life cycle of a product. When we are talking of eco design, then the first step and the quick win that we can have is to work on materials. It is an easy one because we have many materials available, more sustainable materials which are available today in the industry. We have plenty of benchmarks of this kind that will say that, for example, recycled polyester is better than virgin polyester, organic cotton is better than conventional cotton. A second level of eco-design could be working on the architectures. This is an example from Balzac, who has developed a jean which is first 100% cotton, no elastane, because elastane is very difficult to recycle at the end of life of the product. And it is also without any metal rivet, because metal rivet is a problem when you are recycling the product. So Balzac, from the beginning, changed the structure, which is quite iconic of the jean, mainly on this metal part, avoiding them in order to anticipate the recycling of the jean at the end of the life cycle of the product. The third level that we can have is to have really a strong breakthrough. This is a ski jacket developed by Adidas with a startup which is called Primaloft, which is an American startup. This ski jacket is 100% polyurethane. That is, it is monomaterial. It is even the stuff, everything, the outside, the lining, and so on is the same material. The idea is that at the end, it can be just crushed, just to reduce a new fiber to do a new ski jacket exactly the same. So we are really in the circular economy with this. And it is also a new way of thinking because as there is no zipper, because zipper will not be possible to recycle it, you just have to put it through your head like a sweat. And you don't have zipper because otherwise it will not stay 100% monomaterial as it is. And the best and the last level in terms of eco-design is to change our business model. So when you have an history and so on, it's not easy for the historical brands to change their business model. But when you are beginning, this is an example of a young designer. Many young designers are working on upcycling, what we call upcycling. So this is Kevin Germanier, who is a Swiss designer, which it is very interesting because he's using only sleeping stock leftover from the industry. Is working a lot with, you see it's very glamorous, very sexy, with the strass from Swarovski and so on. And so it is 100% use of sleeping stocks and leftover. So we have different levels. And the quick win, yes, it is the materials. That is, we are just going to focus quickly on the materials. If we just focus on materials, it can be more expensive because usually the sustainable materials are more expensive. It's interesting to integrate some of the other levels in order to lower the cost, the extra cost of sustainable materials. So when we are talking of materials, we have some generation. We have several generations of sustainable materials. What it is interesting also in this generation is that the new generation is not erasing the previous one. The previous one is still continuing to live with a new innovation, and we have new trends which are just adding to the previous one. The first step in sustainability was to use more organic fiber, and mainly for the natural fiber, to use also recycled fiber, which can be very easy for recycled, mainly a natural fiber, or to use alter leather that what we call the simile leather or the fake leather and so on, or sandem and so on, which can be also an alternative to leather. Ecopel, with a brand with developing fake fur for the fashion and the luxury brands, is using organic, hemp, recycled materials, biosourced materials, and so on in its collection, which is used by the fashion and luxury. Second generation is biosourced. We have many biosourced materials which are coming from pineapple, from lotus, from kapok, from apple, and so on. We have many biosourced materials which are offered to the industry. This one is one of the last innovation we talked a lot last year, which is mycelium. So it's coming from the mushroom. So it is a collaboration between Milo and Adidas, and also Stella McCartney and Lululemon. But on Adidas, so Adidas developed this basket. It's not yet commercialized. It has been shown like a POC, a proof of concept last year, and we are just waiting today its commercialization. What it is interesting, it is really coming from the nature with something which is very similar to leather, without being as harmful as the alter leather, because there are not as many chemicals as we had before on the fake leather. Next generation is biomimetic. The idea is to take the best of nature of what we know. So microsilk worked, really analyzed exactly how a spider was doing the silk of the nest of the spider, and they have duplicated this process in laboratory, using the same protein, using the same mechanical process of the spider to have this thread, which is as resistant as the spider silk, and which has been developed, for example, with Stella McCartney that you can see here. Next generation of neo-materials was more integrated in the circular economy. So circular economy is first to reuse the same material that we have used during the industry, and it is something that we will see later on with the startup Return, which is here with us. Circular economy is also to eliminate the waste of the process of production of fiber, of a product, and so on. So WASP is a 3D printing company, and what is interesting in 3D printing is that we are just going to use exactly the amount of material you need to do your clothes, your garment, your decoration, and so on. So that is why 3D printing can be integrated in the circular economy, because it eliminates totally the solid waste of the process of production. And so they did some collaboration with the designer, Iris Van Herpen, that you can see here on the image. And the best in terms of new materials, of course, is to have no materials, because as soon as we are producing a product, we have an impact on the environment. So today, as we have then the NFT with some people who are really specialized in this virtual fashion. So the Fabricant is the first 100% digital fashion house today in the world, doing many collaborations with different brands. And this product are aimed to the gamers, to people who want to live in the metaverse, or who want to identify, to personalize their Instagram account, thanks to this NFT coming from the different brands. So the idea was really to show you what is the panorama today of the new materials, how it was working. And so today in the industry, we are very lucky, because we have thousands of different sustainable, more or less sustainable product materials which are available for us. Is it clear?
I think it is. Thank you very much. Maybe you have any question, or I think it's crystal clear. So
Okay.
maybe it's not.
I tried. Yeah. The component. Yes, the semi-finished product.
How do you currently evaluate efficiently the products you have to go for? What components you need to act on? I understand that the life cycle analysis is very, it's mostly handmade. It's a bit long and expensive. How do you work on that to facilitate and automate?
When we are working on life cycle analysis, we have to take into account all the inputs of the product. That is, what will be the different components that we are going to use, the materials, all the transport has been done, where it comes from to where, how it will be used, how many times you are going to wash it. And for each of these entrants, you are going to evaluate what is the impact in terms of use of water, in terms of electricity, and so on and so on. So today we have plenty of database in which we are just integrating. We have in this product, I've got 200 grams of cotton coming from India, which is organic, on which I am adding the stitching thread, which is coming from Turkey and which is in polyester and so on. So I enter all this data in this database, and automatically there will be a calculation of what is the impact on a consumption of water, electricity, and so on and so on. And it will integrate the use, the transport, and so on.
So in other sectors, for instance, this analysis is based on reference data, so general data. You say cotton from India is that much, but we know that in real life, depending on where you are in India and how it's produced, the impacts will be different. So for
it's
instance,
not 100% precise from the scientific mind way of working, but it gives big idea.
Okay.
And we can, what is important in eco-design, we cannot have an eco-design product if you have not analyzed the reference product, which can be in your collection or in a competition. And after, you need to analyze the same with the same methodology, the new products that you have developed following the eco-design process. Okay. So you can have metrics which are not 100% sure, because indeed it depends exactly, as we cannot have something which is too much precise, but you have a big image of what has been the improvement for each environmental impact.
Okay. And have you, sorry, last point, have you started to introduce extra data, like real data from your actual supplier? I'm asking because that's in another field, that's what we're doing.
Usually what brands are doing, they are using a database and methodology which is existing, and you have plenty in Europe and in France and in the world. One is working, is developed currently by Europe, which is it is called PEF, which is print environmental footprint, for different industry, not only fashion, textile and leather, but for different industry. And what are doing brands usually when they are working on this database, and they are just adding some datas which are specific to them, because everything will not be in this global and generic database. So brands can add their own information in this to have something which is more precise and adapted to their profile.
Thank you. Very interesting. I learned many things listening to you. So thank you.
So just to continue on this, I will invite Mina from the startup WeTurn to present the concept of WeTurn, which is around circular economy. So the fourth generation of this slide in terms of new materials.
Should we continue? Am I stepping in too early?
It's okay.
Hi, so I'm Mina. I'm business development manager at WeTurn. We're a young French startup launched about a year and a half ago. We really integrate ourselves in the textile circular economy model, as we have created a new business model around circular economy. We are a service to help brands and manufacturers recycle their excess stocks of goods. So that implies finished goods, unused rolls of fabrics and production scraps into new yarns for their own use. So really in a closed loop system. The reason why is that we all know that these were products that weren't necessarily having a second life, and that were there, as Stéphane was mentioning, are sometimes burned or other things. We believe that these are raw materials, basically, when you look at them, because they are in perfect condition, and that they really have value. And we want to prove in our business model that we can use those products to reintegrate in the textile industry, because they still have their full potential and full economic value. So we will go ahead and help our clients, so as I said, our brands and manufacturers, analyze what they have, see what can be reused, and recycle those into new yarns for their own future productions. So, and this is where eco-conception comes into hand, is that we will basically work hand in hand with them to see what kind of products they will wish to produce, with their yarns, and we will analyze what they have and see how we can match that input and that request for development. Sorry, is my microphone fine? Yeah, okay, sorry. So we are really in the center of the raw recycled material, both on analyzing and on recycling their textiles, and on the output, seeing how those yarns can be reused, redesigned into new products, and we will accompany them on that development as well, so that it goes back into the textile industry. In a nutshell, that's what we do.
Thank you. So we are totally in the circular
Yes.
economy.
Bec-
With the return.
Yeah, because every, Stéphane was talking about life cycle analysis. Every yarn we produce, we do a life cycle analysis to see what is the actual impact of that yarn in the textile industry. So we will provide our clients at the end of each recycling project, an eco-development project, an impact report saying, okay, thanks to the production of this yarn and therefore the production of your new fabric and the product, you have gained, I don't know, so many kilos of CO2, you're allowed to save so many kilos of liters of water, etc. So real data so that they can justify of their project environmentally. And as you may all know, there's the AJEC law that was passed recently that has been put into application in January. And we really are in that whole movement, and we therefore provide them a conformity certification with the AJEC law, proving that they have participated, that their products have not been destroyed, and that they've allowed to give them a new life into a new product.
Thank you, Mina. I've got the first question for you. I've noticed that you are mainly working on natural fibers.
Yes.
Why? Because we all know that synthetic fibers are the most used today, like polyester in the fashion industry. Why are you focusing on natural fibers and the recycling of natural fibers?
Several reasons to that. First of all, we focus on mechanical recycling and not chemical recycling, and that already is a main reason. The second reason is...
Just to interrupt you,
sorry.
chemicals recycling is using a lot of water
Yes.
and chemicals
Yes.
as a name. So it is more environmental compliant to work on chemicals recycling rather than mechanical recycling rather than chemical recycling.
Exactly, and yes, because so as Stéphane said, there's less ecological impact by using mechanical recycling. The second reason is that in our business model that we've created, we really want to be working a closed loop system so that the products, our clients' products stay with amongst themselves to create a new yarn for their own production. So really in a closed circular economy. And when you work with chemical recycling today, the recyclers ask for minimums of quantities that are humongous. 20 tons for one type of material, and it's a system where you cannot work in a closed loop model, so products are just mixed all together. And the last reason is that on our own little level, we'd like to participate in reducing the impact of microplastic pollution, so we don't try to work with too many synthetics, even if it's impossible to avoid them completely.
Microplastic pollution in the oceans are coming essentially from the fashion industry, essentially from the synthetic materials that we are using, like polyester, polyamide, or elastane, or acrylic, for example. I've got another question because I'm very curious. When you are with a new customer and you are analyzing the leftover, they are showing you and they are asking you to recycle in the loop, what is the main difficulty that you face?
I think the main difficulty for our clients is really getting all the information about their product. And so the first step for us is to get an inventory of their stocks, which will allow us to create recycling batches that are the most fine and precise possible. And I think that's where the pain point is trying to get information on all the components, all the traceability of that initial product, so that we can go ahead and make recycling batches that are the most homogeneous possible to have the most highest quality yarn in the output. Our traceability is completely full. We are 100% transparent with our clients. We have, as I said, an LCA. We have an R&D team that's dedicated to traceability. But it starts basically from our process moving forward, and it's a bit more difficult to get all the information upstream from the product.
Thank you, Mina. And
You're
we know it's
welcome.
very complicated to recycle when, if you have many trimming, like accessories, embroidery, you are talking also of
Yes.
embroideries and so on, it's complicated to recycle.
Yeah, ideally we need a picture of every product to be able to see what the embellishments are, to make recycling batches that are the most coherent possible. But it's really that, and the exact composition of every product. So the less the better, as you were saying.
Thank you, Mina.
You're welcome.
Do you have any questions, maybe? Laetitia, you wanted to ask, maybe? Yeah.
No.
Do you have any question to Mina? And around the startup WeTurn, which is part of the circular economy in fashion?
Hi. Hi, I'm Laura, co-founder of Fairly Made. First, congratulations for what you do. I think it's very good.
Thanks so much.
I had a question regarding the minimum of quantities you are requiring to start the process of recycling and transforming it into a new yarn.
Yeah, so that's a great question. It's very dependent on our recyclers' minimum of quantities because these are big industrial machines and they need a minimum of input to be able to be launched and started. So as I say, in chemical recycling, it's humongous. It's 20 tons, so we don't go there. But mechanical recycling can be smaller quantities, which is more coherent with our clients' input. And therefore, depending on the recyclers, between 500 kilos to 1.5 tons of a coherent batch of products. Massification. Sorry, so Sophie's founder of WeTurn, by the way. A solution that we provided to be able to answer to those minimum of quantities is that we have an open loop. We mainly focused on closed loop projects here and discussions, so really eco-conception, closed loop. But because a lot of clients don't have 500 kilos of a same product, we have developed what we call an open loop solution, where our clients will be able to, we will be able to recuperate what our clients have, so starting from 100 kilos of a minimum of a coherent batch of products. And we will basically massify those, meaning we will get all the products prepared, take out all the rivets and hard points that they have, and stock them, and that way we allow them to still go into a recycling process, but in a longer term, meaning that we will use these for other clients who are looking for recycled fibers or yarns. So it's another model.
So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Laetitia?
Yes, thank you very much. It was very interesting too, very inspiring. So I think now we are going to invite Alexandre Capelli to appear on the screen. Hello, Alexandre. How are you?
Hello.
Thank you to be here today.
Yeah,
We're very happy. So Alexandre is the LVMH Deputy Director for Environment for the LVMH Group. And so today you are going to share with us a little bit about the strategy of the group for the years to come. So we are listening to you on this.
Thank you, Laetitia. Yes, very quickly, I will introduce the new environmental strategy called LIFE for LVMH Initiative for the Environment. It's quite first, I will start with saying that it's a long-standing commitment because the environmental department at LVMH is existing since 1992. So it's not the beginning. It's just that we have reinforced and we have updated our strategy, and the new one is called Life 360. Or why Life 360? First, because we have some targets for 23, 26, and 2030. So, of course, 360, and because we really have an holistic vision of sustainability and environment, it's not only the mission of our department, but we really need to collaborate with everyone at LVMH, but also in our value chain. Our new strategy is based upon 4 main pillars, and the first one is creative circularity. And Stéphane before me just talked about eco-design, and our first target is on eco-design. And we have an ambitious target that 100% of our new product will result from eco-design by 2030. So how we do that, we are now defining some eco-design criteria for each single group of activities: fashion, perfumes, watches and jewelry, but also wine and spirits. What does it mean eco-design for each group of activities? And to go back to fashion, for instance, we have defined three categories, three types of criteria. The first one is sustainable raw material content, at least 50%. It can be recycled, it can be certified, it can be from regenerative agriculture, but at least 50% of the content of the product must be from this kind of materials. Then we also need to have a traceability of tier 1 or tier 2 supplier, and also the country of origin of the main raw materials. And the last criteria is about end of life. It can be repairability, for instance, and to be considered as eco-design, every single product will have to tick one of the three criteria on raw material, traceability, and end of life. So that is our eco-design target for 2030. We also have another target for 2026 on packaging, and the idea is to phase out virgin oil-based fossil fuel plastic in packaging. What does it mean? It means first to use only recycled or biosourced plastic in packaging, but also to phase out plastics when it's possible and to move to another materials. It could be cardboard, it could be glass, depends. And the last target by 2023 is to start the implementation of new circular services. And I will come back to this one at the end of my presentation. The second pillar is transparency, traceability and transparency. Upstream and downstream. Upstream, what does it mean? It means being able to trace every single step of our value chain, supply chain, until the field of cotton, the vineyard for grapes, the flour, the cotton, the wool, the gold, the gold mine, the diamond mine. So being able to trace every single material until the field. And downstream, it's being able to share this information, both environmental footprint, but also geographical information with our customer. And for this, it's quite a new, really a new mindset for luxury brands, because we are not used to communicate about this kind of information at the product level. It is now an objective, a target, to start to share this information at the product level and not anymore only at the corporate level. The third pillar is climate. It's, I would say now, not anymore nice to have, but a must have. We have first target on our scope 1 and scope 2 emission. What does it mean, scope 1 and scope 2? It means LVMH own operations, our manufacturers, our stores, our offices, our logistics centers. So we have a target to reduce the emission by 50% on scope 1 and 2, baseline 2019. And this target is by 2026. But we also have a target on our scope 3, and scope 3 is all the rest. So raw material production, transportation, all the LVMH value chain. And the two main sources of impact on this scope 3 are definitely, yes, raw material and transportation. And we have the ambition to reduce by 55% the scope 3 emission by unit of added value, and this by 2030. And the last pillar, which is a key pillar for LVMH, is the biodiversity pillar. When we talk about LVMH, we talk about cotton, wool, grapes, leather, flowers. So it's really linked to ecosystem and biodiversity. And we have two main targets. The first one is to ensure that 100% of our strategic raw material will be certified, and we have defined which standard we want to implement for each single material. So it's it's almost 25 raw materials that are concerned. And the second pillar is to preserve or / restore 5 million hectares of ecosystem within our supply chain. So 5 million hectares, how are we going to achieve this? It's both by implementing regenerative agriculture within our supply chain. And what is regenerative agriculture? I would say it's beyond organic. It's not only focusing on using or not chemicals. It's really integrating the whole ecosystem when you are talking about agriculture, helping preserving the biodiversity of the soil, preserving the capacity of the soil to capture carbon, preserve the water resources. So it's, of course, integrate the chemical topic, but not only, being much more holistic. It's quite ambitious, to be honest, but it's the beginning. We already have some projects for cotton, for wool, We have some project for also from beetroot. As you may know, beetroot, French beetroot is the main source of alcohol for our perfumes, not for our vodka or cognac. It's grapes or rye, but for perfume it's really beetroot. So we are starting the implementation of regenerative agriculture, and the second way to achieve this 5 million hectares is also to as part of the society, civil society, being able to help the preservation of ecosystem outside our supply chain, meaning helping the preservation of forests in Africa, in South America, in Brazil, and with both regenerative agriculture and forest preservation, we should be able to achieve 5 million hectares by 2030. 5 million hectares, it's 10 times Île-de-France. So it's quite huge. 5 times Île-de-France. So it's quite huge. And finally, there is a very important pillar, which is not an official pillar because it will feed all the 4 pillars. It's innovation. We really rely on innovation to boost our strategy, and we need innovation to boost our strategy. And I was talking about new circular services at the beginning, and I think I will talk about non-source very soon. But yes, so that is the LVMH strategy globally.
It's a very vast and ambitious program.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot of
lots of things to do. I'm sure you're quite busy. And taking into account that it exists since 1992, I mean, you have, there are many things already that was done before. Maybe you can share with us a little bit the main challenge that you are facing, the LVMH talents and the Maison. Maybe you want to share about this, please.
One of the main challenges at LVMH, but it's also the beauty of LVMH, it's 75 Maisons, it's 5 or almost 6 group of activities, so it's a lot of diverse activities. It's really different. We are talking about sustainability in fashion, in wine and spirits, in jewelry, in now hospitalities. So it's a lot of topics. So it's quite challenging for us to define a strategy which will be an umbrella for all these different maisons. But that's also very interesting. Then I would say a second challenge is that we are always more ambitious. It's fine. It's really great. We need to be very ambitious on sustainability and environment. But now we are at the stage where the next limit is sometimes being able to change, to shift the business models. So it's not only the environmental department that will do that, and we will need the support of the whole group, you know. And we need to have on board all the teams with us, from purchaser, finance, marketing, designers, and designers are really, really key for us at LVMH. So I would say that yes, the challenge is really to have being able to work and to collaborate with everyone at LVMH, but also suppliers. Value chain is really key. When you look at the environmental footprint, at the global environmental footprint of LVMH, more than 90% of our environmental impact is generated by our supply chain, not by LVMH operations. So it means that suppliers are really, really key. So yes, I would say that collaboration is really one of the biggest challenges that we have. And the last one is definitely innovation. I quickly mentioned this point at the beginning, but if we want to achieve this ambitious target, it won't be possible without innovation. We will need innovation. We will need innovation, but also probably R&D. And it's quite not innovation because you are there, but R&D it's quite new for LVMH, and we will rely on this to achieve our target. And we have plenty of new illustration which are quite successful. And I could mention one of them, which is coming from the DARE program. And Laetitia, you know, you can talk about their program much better than I do, which is the LVMH entrepreneurial platform. And one of the projects was about being able to consolidate all the dead stock fabrics that we have within the LVMH Maison, because we do have a lot, and to consolidate everything, to create a web platform which we could be able to sell all this dead stock to young brands, young designers, or other maisons, even LVMH Maison, or some even competitors, anyone in fashion. So the good news is that we have launched this platform last year. It's called Nona Source. So it took almost 1.5 years from the DARE project to the launch of the platform. So it was quite efficient, to be honest with you, because it was in the middle of the first lockdown. So it was not that easy, but yes, we launched the platform April 2021, and it's very successful. We can see that a lot of young brands, young designers, first because they can be part of circularity by upcycling some dead stock fabrics, but also because the price are very competitive. It's very good price for very, very high quality fabrics. So it's really a win-win project for circularity, but also for business. So yes, it's really successful. We have a web platform. We have a logistics center in the center of France. But we'll also open a showroom in Paris in September. It's located at La Caserne. I guess many of you know La Caserne. It's an incubator for sustainable fashion brands. And we have some plans for 2022 opening other showroom elsewhere in Europe. So yes, that's it for Nonasource, and we are very proud of both Laetitia and I are very proud of Nonasource. It's very successful.
So thank you, Alexandre. So talking about DARE, we have many projects that emerge from DARE. What is interesting with DARE is that it's a system that allows anybody from LVMH to post an innovative idea, and many of these ideas are about sustainability. So we have Nonasource that we're very proud of, but we have also other projects that one called 123 that eliminates extra packaging that is unnecessary, and that was launched in Asia, and it's still developing. We also have some teams working on residues of wines to try to use it in fashion or cosmetics that are also very interesting, and many other entrepreneurial projects. On the startup part, we have startups like actually Paptic. I see one today here, because we try to explore alternative of materials. So Paptic is an alternative to plastic, but we also have Deserto, that's a cactus, an alternative of leather with a vegan and cactus. We have Voodoo, that's an augmented wood. So we really try to explore different new ways of doing material. So Alexandre, I have a last question for you. Would you have any advice to give to the people in the room on how to have an impact and transform the fashion industry?
I don't know if it is advice, but at least it is feedback from what I have from my experience with Nonasource. Is first is don't wait to have a finished product, to have a finished solution. It will never be perfect. So yeah, let's go. As soon as you are almost ready, let's go. It was one of our main conclusion at Nonasource. When we launched the platform in 2021, it was not perfect. It was not totally ready, but then it was still a success. And now I've improved the platform, we've improved the process. So maybe, yes, don't wait for a finished product. And then, yes, I think that, yes, be ambitious. I know sometimes we don't have a huge team when you have not all the resources that you could wish. It's not a problem. Be ambitious. And again, I could mention Nonasource because it's my main experience with startup. Very quickly, even if it's the small team, the idea is to go beyond France and to accelerate. We know that it will be a challenge, but we need to be ambitious. So realistic, ambitious. Yes, that's my main, I would say, conclusion. Yes, in terms of startup. In terms of sustainability, I guess whatever you do today, even if sustainability is not at the heart of your DNA or at the heart of your brands, you need to have it. You know, it's not anymore a nice to have. So even if it's not in your DNA, you really need to see how your solution can fit sustainability. I think now, today, it's really something you can't avoid. So yes, let's think about it also.
So thank you, Alexandre. So I think the advice are very interesting, and we can all have an impact. Each small step will be a big journey if we do it all together. So I think now I will call Laure Betch from Fairly Made on stage, and I think Alexandre and you will have a small discussion. So
Is it working? Yes.
thank you, Laure, to be here today. Thank you.
Hi, Alexandre.
Hi, Laure. Sorry not to be there.
COVID is still doing the issue we know. So yeah, I'm the co-founder of Fairly Made. So basically, our mission is to improve the impact of the fashion industry on both social and environmental level. So we have built a platform, and this platform is helping brands to improve the impact of their products on 4 main pillars. These pillars are social, environmental, traceability, and recyclability. Then we also help brands to track their full supply chain and improve their traceability of their products. And we help them also to communicate internally for their team and also externally for their clients. So I think that our solution aims to give brands a 360 view on their product performance to help them to take the right decisions. So with LVMH, I think we have met Alexander 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what is great is that since the beginning, there were like a trustful relationship, and we started to work with 6 brands.
Yes, right. As I mentioned during my presentation introduction of the Life 360 strategy, we have a target specific on eco-design, targeting 100% of our product resulting from eco-design by 2030. And now we are in the process of defining, like I told you, what are the eco-design criteria for each group of activities. And the second point that also Stéphane mentioned at the beginning is that we have more and more we have some regulation with regard to product environmental footprint communication at the French, but more and also European level. So we were looking for a tool that could help us to both evaluate our environmental footprint at the product level, to share the information with our customer, but also to monitor our eco-design criteria. So we were looking for an ideal tool. And very quickly, we met Fairly Made, and their tool was super interesting for us because it was almost ready to use for the environmental footprinting. So that's, and we are testing the tool right now with 6 of our maisons, from this one of the smallest with Patou, from the biggest to Louis Vuitton, but also Dior, Fendi, Stella McCartney, and Loewe, I think. Yes, Loewe. So, and they are all super proactive and interesting. So it's really good news for us and a good feedback, because it means that all the maisons, they really want to deep dive into eco-design, but also communication. And the next step, after this test, will be to implement at a large scale the Fairly Made impact tool within our maison, but also to integrate our purely LVMH Life 360 eco-design criteria to be able to monitor them. So we will use the current Fairly Made impact tool, but hopefully we will be able to add, to plug an LVMH specific part. So yes, it's very ambitious, and we are very happy of this collaboration, hopefully successful.
Thank you. And I think that from our side, what is great is that we work with very different type of brands, from small brands such as Patou, where it's almost the CEO that we are working with, and we have a high implication, like from the start to the end of the process, to larger brands where actually we work on like bigger problematics, such as how to scale the collect of information. So I would say that for us it's very exciting to have all these different brands, and it's a good representation of what we can do at Fairly Made, and how our tool can be a support for different type of brands with different level of maturity.
Another challenge that I don't manage very well is the IT discussion, which is really key, especially in big group like LVMH. We have huge IT departments. Yes, I involve them at the beginning to be sure that we will be able to implement the Fairly Made tool within the LVMH processes. Usually they like to work with big name of the IT, but they don't like to work with small startup. But when the idea is to challenge them and to convince them that you have the perfect tool, it doesn't exist in big player. So yes, again, it's one of the challenge we have to work sometime with startup at LVMH, to be honest with you.
Yeah, thank you for this comment on our tool. And
Yeah.
I think that, the main challenge for us will be also to continue to work with these brands and accompany them on their different problematics, and also to start working with new brands. So we are open to meet other brands to continue and expand our work together.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you have any question? Because we are arriving to the end of the talk. No, I think it speaks by itself. So thank you, Laure. Thank you, Alexandre, for sharing.
Thank you.
Laetitia, we have a question.
We have a question. We listen to you.
Yeah, sorry, it's me again. I'm not sure, Alexandre, you can see me, so I'll just introduce myself. I'm Benoît Briot from the Green Data. We've built a decision-making platform for regenerative agriculture, and we work with large corporations such as Danone to help them plan reaching sustainable agriculture and deploy that on the field. So I was very interested in the talk you just had with it's Laure, right? Oh, yeah.
Yes, Laure.
So I was wondering if you guys were already working on working with these indicators to actually build plans to reach your 5 million hectares goal, and then follow them and then deploy this sustainable agricultural strategy on the field. I assume that you have the same constraints that Danone has. You work worldwide in a lot of countries with a lot of reference data, with a lot of constraints that are different, and that must be a huge challenge. So I was wondering what you guys were doing on that. Thanks.
It's a very good question. It's very interesting. Definitely we should meet. So Laetitia, maybe we will organize a meeting later.
I will organize, of course. That's one of the things we do regularly between startups and LVMH.
So far, with regard to regenerative agriculture, we have some scientific partners which help us to implement concrete projects. So we are working with Renature, we are working with Savory, Biosphere, Earthworm, but they are not able to provide tools to help us to manage this transition. So my understanding is that, if I understand well, is that you are providing this type of tool to monitor the KPIs in the field. That's right.
We actually, so we're here at Station F, and we were one of the winners of a program with Microsoft and Danone. So we've been working with them since 2020. And so that's the topic we're working on, and we have an ongoing project with them, but we're also working with large other corporations such as Crédit Agricole or Crystal and others.
So far, yes, we are integrating the regenerative agriculture monitoring within our current tools, but it's great to consolidate figures at the corporate level, but not that powerful to manage projects on the field. So yes, maybe we could meet and see if it is interesting to collaborate and to go further. Yes, definitely, because it's just the beginning. We have started in 21 with regenerative agriculture. So, and we are right. We have some projects everywhere in the world, from Turkey to Malaysia, South America, France, of course, but yes, everywhere in the world. So yes, we should definitely meet.
And same for us. To tell you, this is the kind of data we get So we can get from the brand the fact that they are using regenerative cotton, and then integrate them in our life cycle assessment to see the impact on the results.
And so you do LCAs, right? You do life
Yeah,
cycle.
we also do LCA. Yes,
Okay.
within the impact for the environmental, we do LCA to give like the grade on the environment.
And so you do traditional manual LCAs, or are they automated and data enhanced, or?
Yeah, we do both. Actually, we do first manual, and we are trying also to automate everything to save time. But yeah, let's talk about this together with pleasure.
That's a topic we're working on, but again in agro industry and agriculture. But it's the same materials, so biosourced materials. We should talk.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. You know, I think creativity very often arises when you have different people talking together. So very happy that maybe there will be some more projects together. Franck, maybe you want to add a few words before the conclusion.
Yes, for the conclusion, first, starting to thank our speakers and the startups that were with us this morning. And again, this kind of event is very fruitful in terms of connection for everyone. Just two key takeaways maybe from our discussion. The first is this very strong link between innovation and sustainability. I think it's Alexandre that mentioned that the solutions that will be the most powerful one and most impactful will come from innovation. So we need to foster this link between these different worlds of technicians, entrepreneurs, corporates. And we talk a lot about tech for good, and clearly fashion and luxury is an industry in which this concept is very strong and can have a strong potential. Second dimension I keep in mind from our exchange is in terms of relationship between startup and corporates. My impression is that corporates are particularly open on this topic of sustainability. You know, the luxury industry tends to be internalizing key issues such as customer relationships, etc. But on this important topic of sustainability, the openness and the fact that, again, Alexandre mentioned that even if you are not 100% ready, come see us. There is really a need, a crucial interest on this topic from corporates. So for entrepreneurs, I think it's a very important
it's called
element.
Open innovation, and open innovation is open, so it's open to everybody.
Particularly open on this topic.
Yes.
So thank you again, everyone, for joining us this morning. The coffee is still here. If you want to keep on exchanging, it will be a pleasure to meet in person.
And be seated, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just would like to add one small thing, is that, so again, the way we work is by creating conversation between startups and the maison. So if you have a startup, if you know a startup where you feel they can make a difference by talking to people from the LVMH Maison, please let us know. We have the Innovation Award, we have the program here where all the startups can apply, so don't hesitate to talk and to share. I think we all have a responsibility, and we can build a better future if we do it together. So really, please dare, we're here, and we'll try to make this better future with you. Thank you.
Last word, thank you, Agostina, Muriel, everyone who was involved in the organization, and the French Tech for welcoming us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.